The most recent and virulent exchange of hostilities between rap superstars Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, which occurred in the final days of September and the first days of October 2025, is not an isolated event. Rather, it is the boiling point of a rivalry that has been dragging on for years, constantly oscillating between a healthy professional dispute and destructive personal rancor. To understand the brutality of the virtual confrontation that unfolded on the X platform, it is crucial to revisit the context. Since Cardi B's meteoric rise to the top of the music scene around 2017 and 2018, challenging Nicki Minaj's hegemony, the industry and fans have been divided into factions. The Barbs, Nicki's fans, and the Bardi Gang, Cardi's fans, who act as virtual armies, always ready for battle. The first major physical confrontation between the two occurred in 2018 during a Harper's Bazaar party in New York, where Cardi B threw a shoe at Nicki, marking the moment when the rivalry ceased to be mere speculation and became a documented, explosive fact. Since then, the tension has never cooled, manifesting in subtle disses in songs, jabs in interviews, and now, in a declared war on social media. Now I will show you what some people on the internet are saying about this matter.
The things Cardi B is telling Nicki are straight up diabolical. Like, if you're Nicki, this has to be striking some type of nerve, because it's your kid. Also, why is Benny Blanco catching a random stray in all of this? I'm posting some more of my favorite tweets, so follow me.
We've now unfortunately reached the baby mentioning portion of the Nicki Minaj vs. Cardi B saga that continued to rage on the timeline last night. Here's what's going on. After going quiet for a few hours after their initial timeline argument, Nicki sent out a long tweet last night accusing Offset of cheating on Cardi with Sweetie, saying her current baby with Stephon Diggs was not planned, and that her album is, quote, dipped in evil, among other things. Nicki also brings up Cardi's daughter culture in the tweet, which is kind of where things first started to go super left. Cardi responded by saying that Nicki should be enjoying her son's birthday instead of trying to get a rise out of her on social media, and that she didn't even send any shots at Nicki on Am I the Drama, so she's confused why the rapper is so pressed. Some Nicki fans have cited that Cardi was throwing subs at Nicki during her album rollout. Cardi also warns Nicki not to bring up her child's name again. And this is where all hell breaks loose. Nicki followed that up by calling Cardi's daughter culture ugly and challenged Cardi to a fight. Cardi retaliated and claimed that Nicki's son is nonverbal and criticizes Nicki for trying to fight her now that she's pregnant. Despite this though, Cardi tells Nicki to drop a pin and claims that they were supposed to fight 3 months ago, but Nicki got the police involved. Nicki, however, just continues to hurl insults at Cardi and her kids, and Cardi does the same. That continued for the next hour or so, with Nicki bringing up Jay-Z, Roc Nation, and Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez, and eventually pivoting to questioning Cardi's album sales again. And it essentially just devolves into nasty name-calling on the timeline. And like I said yesterday, I'm sure more will happen today, but I really, really hope it doesn't. Cardi B and Nicki Minaj are two of the biggest rappers of all time. And while they will probably never see eye to eye, especially after talking about each other's kids, I think this argument would have been better served in bars than on the timeline. So let's all just hope it's over, even though I know it's not. For Complex, I'm Jordan Rhodes. Make sure to shop at Complex for exclusive vinyl and merch.
The immediate trigger for the latest, most toxic feud explosion was the success of Cardi B's album, Am I the Drama?, which had just earned double platinum certification and secured the rapper's second album at the top of the Billboard 200. This achievement, which solidified Cardi B not as a newcomer, but as an established force and a direct competitor to Nicki's legacy, is what unleashed the fury of the Queen of Rap. Nicki Minaj initiated the provocation with a series of calculated tweets designed to undermine her rival's success, publicly mocking the album's sales, insinuating chart manipulation, and criticizing the promotional pricing adopted by Cardi. The attack, initially focused on music, was a clear attempt to delegitimize her opponent's achievement. The escalation, however, was dizzying and quickly shifted focus from music to personal life, reaching an unprecedented level of aggression. Nicki Minaj did not hesitate to bring up Cardi B's fourth pregnancy, using it as ammunition to disparage her rival. With deeply sexist and moralistic comments, she called Cardi B Barney B, a derogatory reference to her body and color, and made outrageous statements about Cardi's motherhood and sex life. The insinuation was that Cardi B did not plan her pregnancies, and was promiscuous for having sexual relations while pregnant, directly attacking her rival's morality and relationship. This type of attack, which targeted the essence of Cardi's femininity and motherhood, demonstrated Nicki's intention to inflict the deepest and most personal pain possible. Cardi B's response was immediate and unrelenting. She rejected the criticism about her success, demanding that Nicki, with her 16 years in the game, stop comparing herself to her and focus on measuring her performance against her true peers of longevity and global influence, such as Rihanna, Taylor Swift, and Drake, insinuating that Nicki lacked the same magnitude of success. From there, the tone turned destructive. Cardi B retaliated with even heavier accusations about drug use, nicknaming Nicki Cocaine Barbie and alleging that she had substance abuse issues, going so far as to boast about having the power to pull bitches out of rehab. She also attacked Nicki's health and fertility, suggesting that the alleged drug use had damaged the rapper's own eggs, in turn affecting the health and development of her children. This exchange about fertility and health introduced a layer of cruelty rarely seen in public feuds. The point of no return, however, was reached when the artist's children were explicitly brought into the dispute. Nicki Minaj, in an act that drew widespread condemnation, attacked Cardi B's daughters, Culture and the youngest, calling them cockroaches and monkeys. The use of racist and derogatory insults directed at small children, who have no part in the conflict, was seen as an unacceptable transgression of the rivalry's boundaries, dehumanizing and minimizing Nicki's own black fan base and the community. The public reaction was immediate repulsion, questioning Nicki Minaj's morality and sanity for crossing such a dark and offensive line. Cardi B's retaliation to this racist and cruel attack was no less devastating. She struck back in the same coin, directing her insults at Nicki's son, Papa Bear. Cardi B insinuated that the boy had speech difficulties, and that this was a direct result of the mother's supposed drug use during gestation or breastfeeding. Cardi B alleged that Nicki's hatred was fueled by envy of the happiness and health of Cardi's children, as she herself had ruined her own child. The back and forth about the children's health turned the dispute into a war of pain, where the suffering and development of the children became mere pawns. The intensity peaked when Cardi B abandoned insinuations and addressed Nicki Minaj by her birth name, Onika Tanya Mirage, in a series of long, open messages that she promised would be her last. In these messages, Cardi B not only attacked Nicki's husband, Kenneth Petty, making direct and explicit references to his criminal history, which includes rape accusations and failure to comply with sex offender registration, but also delved into Nicki's childhood trauma. Cardi B publicly cited that Nicki's inner little girl would be in pain because her mother did not defend her when her father touched her every time he smoked crack. By exposing Nicki's childhood abuse, trauma, and family drug history, Cardi B used her rival's deepest, most private pain as a weapon, transforming the feud into a spectacle of open wounds. Cardi B accused Nicki of being a destructive person, with no real friends or supporting family, and that the only man in her life allowed her to drug herself until she passed out to spend her money on goods for people on the street. The message was clear. Nicki's fury and online behavior were merely a symptom of unhealed trauma and an out-of-control personal life. The level of aggression led Cardi B to declare that the feud had become too personal for Twitter and to challenge Nicki Minaj to a physical confrontation. In a tweet that immediately went viral, Cardi B demanded Nicki's location, declaring, "Today is the day I'm going to jail," and promised, "I will find you when the time comes." This direct threat of physical violence caused the internet to collapse, fearing that the rivalry could, in fact, end in aggression and arrest. Even during the chaos, Nicki Minaj attempted damage control, posting a message in which she appeared to position herself against the very racist insults she had just hurled, claiming that the bitch, now referring to herself or her online persona, would never again argue another black baby or call black women cockroaches and monkeys. The attempt at reversal was viewed as hypocritical by Cardi B, who accused her of flipping the narrative and being a hypocrite for fighting with every black woman in the industry, even citing sending shade to SZA and Beyoncé, while licking the ass of white artists. In essence, the recent feud between Nicki Minaj and Cardi B transcended the dispute over numbers and charts and became one of the darkest and most brutal spectacles of personal offense in entertainment. The mutual attacks on children, drug use, child abuse, health, and criminal history set a new and dangerous standard of toxicity in celebrity rivalries, proving that the struggle for the female rap throne is far from over, but is now marked by deep and permanent scars on both artists' personal lives. Cardi B's promise that she would no longer respond on the X platform suggests a unilateral ceasefire, but the severity and public exposure of their most intimate wounds ensure that the emotional and professional impact of this confrontation will be felt for a long time.